Hello and welcome once again to the Random Wrestling Review and our local to global series. And when we left you last time, I had booked the entirety of the RWR Golden Triangle Tournament Day 2, which means you even know who the winner is going to be. Charlie Haas. Charlie Haas, who has impressed a lot this year and is being entrusted to win this tournament. I'm just going to check that we've got the title up for grabs. Not that it's a title, but the achievement. And yeah, this is our show. We have the semi-finals of the tournament. We have a few other bits and pieces, and we have the final of the tournament. So let's go into it and get to the get to the end of this show. Finally, you've been waiting for a few days for it, so let's just do it. We have 110 people at this one, which I think is another record. Was the last record 108? I'm not sure. I'm losing track, but whatever the case, we're big attendance for us. Highest paid attendance anyway, I think, in history. And what a start to the show. Charlie Haas defeating Rex King and Barry Buchanan in a triple threat match in 13 minutes and 2 seconds when Haas pinned Rex King with a total hostility. A segment rating of 47. That's one of the best matches in company history, not far behind the Red Alert match with Powers of Pain that took place a few months ago. And Charlie Haas, an in-ring performance of 45. Rex King of 41, so a really good performance from him. Barry Buchanan of 36. What a start to this show. An amazing, amazing start to proceedings here. Charlie Haas progresses to the final, and then the second semi-final sees CM Punk defeat Dan Severn and Chris Adams in a triple threat match in 8:45 when CM Punk pinned Chris Adams with a quick cradle. A segment rating of 41, Punk 45, Dan Severn a 36, and Chris Adams, both tired and seeming off his game, still did a 33, so not terrible. But yes, an amazing performance from CM Punk as well, and a segment rating of 41 is very, very decent too. Not quite as good as the opener, but still very good. So as the show goes on, we next get James Storm come out, and he basically says that Teddy Hart is the man who cost him his first round match in the Golden Triangle tournament. He says that Teddy Hart was put there specifically by his uncle Bruce to prevent James Storm from accruing any more points in the ranking system, and he calls out Teddy Hart for an impromptu match here tonight, right now. And despite the misgivings, perhaps, of his uncle Bruce, Teddy Hart comes out for the match and will face James Storm right now. A segment rating of 34. James Storm did a masterful job, apparently, of improvising interaction with the crowd, which means that this segment rating probably should have been a little higher. But anyway, they then have their match, and in a shock victory, Teddy Hart beats James Storm in 8:20 by pinfall with a Heart Attack 2.0 after the distraction from Bruce Hart. So what happens here is ultimately James Storm is dominating the match throughout, has Teddy Hart beaten after about 3 or 4 minutes, but continues to punish the young wrestler, even pulling him up when it comes to going for the cover and not instead allowing him to be pinned. He wants the match to keep going. Bruce Hart comes out and argues with James Storm about this and tells James Storm just to pin Teddy. It's all over. Teddy's beaten. Just do the right thing and pin the guy. And he won't do it. They continue to argue, and Teddy Hart sneaks up from behind from James Storm with just enough energy to roll him up and get the victory with a 34 rated match here. Teddy Hart a 23, James Storm an in-ring performance of 44. Excellent from him, but he loses here against Teddy Hart and remains on 0 points in the rankings, which I realize I haven't brought you the rankings in this episode or the previous one. So yeah, hopefully we'll get back to that in the next episode. Then a tag team match. Buddy Wayne and Billy Kidman take on the Samoan Violence Connection. And in this one, Buddy Wayne and Billy Kidman get the victory when Buddy Wayne pins ECMO in 11:27. Another really good match here. Segment rating of 40. Buddy Wayne a 38, Billy Kidman a 30. Kimo, of course, a 46. ECMO was off its game with a 28 rated performance. But a victory for Buddy Wayne and Billy Kidman as the Samoan Violence Connection sort of drop down the tag team kind of reckoning at the moment in terms of them just not really getting it together. A victory for Buddy Wayne and Billy Kidman. Then we have a singles match between Ace Steel and Kevin Hart, won by Ace Steel in 10 minutes 22 seconds when Ace Steel pulled Keith Hart's tights. He was visibly tiring toward the end, but Ace Steel had an in-ring performance of 37 and carried this to a very satisfactory 35 segment rating. The big angle of the night, what happens is that Sean Stasiak and Batista come out, and they have a chat about everything that's gone on recently. Sean Stasiak apologizes for his behavior, both when it came to last week and the two of them fighting. Sorry, not last week, the 2 weeks before in night one of this tournament, and then also apologizes for the attack he committed on Dan Severn. They shake hands, and it appears all is well in the world. Dave Batista was apparently terrible in this segment with no script to follow. His dialogue was a mess. But Stasiak worked the crowd well. Segment rating of 45, so can't really complain about it. As Stasiak, however, is making his way to the back, Dave Batista is set upon by Mark Henry, who attacks Batista from behind and starts to beat him down. Stasiak looks towards the ring and decides to run back towards the ring, but instead of helping Batista, he then joins in the attack on Batista alongside Mark Henry. This is only broken up when Dan Severn runs to the ring and breaks it all up and prevents the attack from continuing. For a segment rating here of just 37, so not a great segment, certainly not as good as the one that came before this, but the scene is set anyway for what's to come next for these four men. So we go on to the main event, and it is a 50 rated match. Charlie Haas beats CM Punk in 14:39 by pinfall with a total hostility. Charlie Haas wins the Golden Triangle tournament. Charlie Haas had a 42, Punk a 46. Haas was off his game for this one, but it didn't matter. This got the best rating of any match, of any singles match in the history of the company, and of any match pitting two regular members of the roster against one another. An excellent finish to this tournament. A real success, actually, the tournament in general. And Charlie Haas gets the victory for a segment rating of 50. And that is the end of the show. An overall rating of 47. This has got to be the best show in company history as well, I would think, because of that. An absolutely brilliant main event, a brilliant opener. Charlie Haas has been absolutely fantastic. I think we will give him praise for a great performance and CM Punk praise for a great performance given what they've done here. And I'm also going to give Rex King a compliment because his performance in the opener was really good too. So that was the Golden Triangle tournament. Finally, we've delivered on that particular show that you've been waiting for now for a few days. And let's have a look at the top 100s because there's got to be some new reckoning in there. In fact, the Golden Triangle Tournament Day 2 is by far and away the best event we've ever done. Like a long, long, long way ahead of everything else. Fantastic stuff. In terms of top 100 matches, you can see the final of that tournament and the semi-final involving Charlie Haas, both in second and third all time in terms of matches in the company. I'm just trying to find, we've got a number of matches from day one as well in these top 100. You can see here Punk, Batista, and Stasiak's match, Haas, Teddy Hart, and James Storm, their match. We also had another match from night one, Rex King, C.W. Anderson, and Ace Steel. Yeah, I mean, a load of new matches in the top 20 because of the quality there of some of those contests, in particular the final of the tournament, which he saw Charlie Haas beat CM Punk. He is now, out of nowhere, becoming absolutely indispensable to this company. He is in the top 3 matches of all time in company history, thanks in part to this tournament, but also he's in the 7th best match in company history as well. So he's in 4 of the best 10 matches in company history, and the top 3 are all involving him. In terms of attendances, that indeed was not our top one. Sorry, the day one did 112 in attendance, whilst day 2 did 110. But still, both events a marked uptick in attendance for us. And let's have a look at finances because we're a little bit down here. I wonder whether the sponsorship will make up for it. It might do, although we obviously saw that the economy had fallen a little bit, so maybe that will impact the sponsorship. The Golden Triangle tournament comes in with a current prestige of 43 from its first, the first tournament, and no doubt, no surprise given the way Haas and Punk went about their business in that match. So that is the Golden Triangle tournament, and I think it's fair to say a real success for the company. Let's progress to the end of the month then, and kind of start to think about what's next on the agenda for us. So end of the current month. Yeah, and I guess just first of all, a little chance for me to once again say thank you for watching, and also to ask you if you enjoy this video to press the like button. also press the subscribe button if you intend to carry on following along with the series, which would be a real help. It's really great to get the support of people, and this series continues to go on and on and on, and I think it's got a long way to go to this point. The next show we're going to bring you will be headlined by Dan Severn and Dave Batista versus Mark Henry and Sean Stasiak. Now, I wish I could bring you the rankings, and I'm going to try something now which might mess everything up, but bear with me. I just want to see if it works at all. Not really. You can't see all of the rankings there, I'm afraid. So I'm going to hang on. Let's see what can I do. Not that. Sorry about this. I just want to bring you the rankings. Really, this is the rankings before night two of the tournament, I should say, and it's not working at all, is it? Let's be honest. It's really not working. This has been a disaster. Well, here you go. This is the best I can do to bring you the rankings. Apologies, I'm usually a little bit slicker than this, but what the hell? Today we're letting it all hang out. So Dan Severn and Dave Batista have 10 points apiece. So Dave Batista is the number one contender as things stand. Behind him, we got Chris Adams on 9 points, Ace Steel on 8, Mark Henry on 6, Billy Kim on 5, Rex King and Buddy Wayne on 4, Chemo and Charlie Haas and C.W. Anderson on 3, Punk, Ekmo and Keith Hart on 2, Teddy Hart and Barry Buchanan on 1, James Storm and Sean Stasiak on 0. But as I say, yeah, Dan Severn and Dave Batista will take on Sean Stasiak and Mark Henry in the main event of the next show. But Batista is currently the number one contender as well. So that, who knows, that might factor into it. At WrestleMania 16, Diesel became the new WWF World Heavyweight Champion in a 99 rated match against The Undertaker. And underneath them, Shawn Michaels defeated Bret Hart in another 99 rated match. Brian Pillman defeated Rey Mysterio Jr. in another 99 rated match. 399 rated matches on the same show. A 60,000 in attendance for WrestleMania 16, I should say, and a show rating of 94. Very good indeed. Yeah, really great stuff here. Um, Fascinating that GI Booker T has turned up in WWE as GI Bro. That's fascinating. We also had the Psycho Ward defeat Owen Hart and Yokozuna for the WWF World Tag Team titles. Who are the Psycho Ward? They are Road Warrior Animal and Steve Austin. So they are your tag team champions. So instead of Austin versus The Rock in the main event of WrestleMania 15, we had Diesel versus The Undertaker, and Austin took part in a tag team match, which also included Yokozuna and Road Warrior Animal, which is fascinating too. We also had Psycho Sid defeat Hollywood Hogan. So Hogan is now with WWF as well. I hadn't realized Hogan had left WCW, but he has. Luger defeated Jerry Lawler in an 84 rated match. Dean Douglas and Jeff Jarrett defeated the Lowlives, who are Kama and King Kong Bundy, maybe still managed by Ted DiBiase, potentially. Henry O. Godwin and Double the Trouble, Samu and the Patriot against Billy Gunn, Carl Ouellet, and Jinsei Shinzeki. I mean, yeah, just fascinating stuff going on with WWF. Also, WCW Uncensored took place, and Arn Anderson is now World Heavyweight Champion. When did that happen? I'll have to look at. We must have missed a couple of things here. Arn Anderson defeated Randy Savage to retain the World Heavyweight title in a 76 rated match. Again, like the quality, the fact that Arn Anderson is the champion is a real problem. Hugh Morris defeated Chicky Star in a semi-main. Those two should not be anywhere near the main event, yet they've both been champions. AC Connor defeated Rico Suave for the US title. I don't know who Rico Suave is, but AC Connor is D'Lo Brown. Rico Suave is nobody I've ever heard of, but he was the US champion. I mean, I'm quite concerned for WWE. I just don't feel like they've got anybody in their roster that can move up the ranks and become a really effective um, sort of championship contender. But I guess, who knows? Maybe things will change. Well, what I'm going to do now is I am going to go out to the market. I've decided not to worry about the previous limits I was setting on myself in terms of the number of people on the roster, just because I thought, um, we need an extra person. I just need an extra person for now. I'm going to try and keep it around 18 people on the roster, but we will have 19 for a little bit, and that's because I'm bringing in Chris Harris to the company. He's reasonably cheap, and I think I've got an idea for what Chris Harris is going to do. So he's coming into the roster ahead of our next show, which I haven't even put in the diary yet. It's going to be an April show. We've obviously got the Lottery Ball. We've moved back to May because we wanted to accommodate that Golden Triangle tournament that we just did. So I need another show name ultimately for Monday, week 2 of April. think we'll make this a special, not an annual show. And what's it going to be called? Well, we're also intending to have the tag team titles on the line because Red Alert will be defending against Rex King and Chris Adams. You may remember that they won a number one contenders four-way tag team match at one of the shows in February. I think we'll have the game suggest some names for me, and hopefully they'll be better than the ones that have come up to start with. I mean, I've probably used the ones that I'm even close to not hating that are built into the game. So I think it's going to be difficult to find anything that I'm happy with, really. Goodness me, this is bad. Mm, yeah, I'm not really seeing anything at the moment. Yeah, this is not working. There have been nothing that I've seen that I'm happy with to this point. Oh, this is not good, is it? Uh, go with No Remorse. Terrible name, but I was getting a little bit desperate there. Got to be honest. Um, everybody's available, so that's good news. Let's put that one in. So RWR No Remorse is next. It's our next show that we're going to do. It's in due for 7 days' time, so we will move on to the next player-controlled show. Yes, we're bringing in Chris Harris. I've got an immediate idea for what Harris is going to do, and yeah, I think that's going to be a decent little story that we're pulling together. And I've got to be honest, I've not looked beyond this show. I don't know who exactly is going to be the next person to take on Dan Severn for the title, even though at the moment it would point to Batista as the likely person in that position. I'm just going to check on Chris Harris's stuff. So he's got old school face gimmick. We're going to change this. It's going to be a heel, and we're going to make him a what we're going to call this guy. Uh, what's his gimmick going to be? I guess. I think I'll just go old school heel. Seeing he was an old school face. Give it a bit of that. Can't play comedy, legitimate, Weasley, or offbeat. So badass, I suppose. I think that's probably right. Um, we just make it standard. Let's just make it standard. So he's now changed and set up to be a heel. We've got a lot of heels in the company at the moment. That is a bit of an issue, thanks to Sean Stasiak turning heel recently. King Mabel out of WWF apparently not being offered a contract extension. Stan Lane retiring from in-ring action. I thought he was already retired. I think he did. Thinking about it, I think he did wrestle beyond the point where he was a full-time guy. So let's continue to move on to the next player-controlled show. And yeah, I mean, hopefully we might be able to bring you it today. I don't know. We've still got 12 minutes on my timer for the video, and we've got we might have enough time to bring you the show. We didn't manage to do that last time, bring you two events in the same episode, but who knows? You might manage it today. Uh, I think we're going to have to also look, though, soon at whether or not we can get a deal with a broadcaster, really, because we are getting to that point. In fact, let me just check. No, not yet. Not yet can we get anybody. But I'm hoping it won't be long. I'll have a look at that off screen and see what we can get out of it. Okay, well, it's time for the big event. It's time for our show. So let's start with the opening match, which will see Ace Steel versus Billy Kidman. Not a long one. And Ace Steel's going to win. outside interference finish. Barry Buchanan's going to help him get that win. And Ace Steel actually goes up to 10 victories, I think, with that win. 10 points. No, he doesn't. He goes up to 9 points, but he's definitely in the running at this point, towards the top of the rankings. So then we're going to have the next match, which is going to be. Actually, I realized I hadn't even figured out the order of these matches, which means I'm going to actually change my mind about what the opening match was. It's going to be this instead. We're going to have Chemo and ECMO face Keith Hart and Teddy Hart. And in this one, we'll let it go. We'll make it 8 minutes. We'll work the crowd. The victor is going to be Keith Hart on ECMO. Let's not make it an open match. Well, no, let's keep it as open match. Pinfall finish. But this one's going to be a partner miscommunication finish. I'm not sure we've used this very much in this save. And it's going to be Chemo who basically causes the loss for ECMO in this one. And yeah, that's going to be the opener. Then we're going to have Ace Steel versus Billy Kidman, I think. Then after this, there's going to be... No, first of all, there's going to be an angle. So the angle is going to be James Storm fuming about what happened to him in the last show, of course, beaten by Teddy Hart in what was a massive, major upset. I think Teddy Hart's only maybe his second win of all time. Like, he's definitely got a win on his record. I don't know if that was him getting a pin or the tag team match, but he has got one win in the past, possibly against Chris Adams or something like that. Can't remember. But anyway, Bruce Hart's going to be the yeah, Bruce Hart's going to be the person who's the subject of James Storm's ire here. Storm claims that Bruce Hart is trying to stack the deck against him and won't be successful. So James Storm generally just complaining about everything that's happened to him. His match is against James Storm, so we will. His match is against Chris Harris. We will explain this in a little bit of detail during the show as well. We'll make it a little bit more. I'll flesh out the details. This is going to be a 1 minute match won by James Storm when Chris Harris lays down for him. I'm going to keep Harris strong, not that I really need to. So, and then after the match, James Storm is going to. I want to get over this for now. After the match, James Storm tells Bruce Hart that he should say hello to his new partner, Chris Harris. They are coming for. They want tag titles. Can't fit it in. Just making this a bit shorter. I like to make sure that these are all kind of badged up or labeled up properly so that I can understand what's actually happened. Again, we'll go into more detail in the actual show. I'm going to put woman in this one as well. And you know what? I'm going to put that against how she's rated simply because she's just stood there. So why else is she there really? Other than being his manager, of course. So then what have we got so far? Okay. So we've got 3 more matches to book on this show. And the first one is going to be, you know what? No, we're going to go with the tag team match, I think, first. So it's tag team titles on the line. On Red Alert are going to face Rex King and Chris Adams. As I say, this was the match that was brought on by what happened a few shows ago when, I think back in February, when Rex King and Chris Adams won a four-way tag team match to win the title shot. Here, though, they're not going to win the title match. Anderson's going to get the victory over Chris Adams. And Red Alert are going to hold on to the tag team titles, with which they've already got two successful defenses. This will be their third in this show. Chris Adams is very unhappy. All right, we'll keep him strong. I don't want to upset him, really. I haven't got huge plans for him. He's not happy with how long it is either. You know what? We can do this as the storytelling match, which might just get him through. It won't, but we'll go with it anyway. Okay, so then the semi-main is a singles match between CM Punk and Buddy Wayne. This is the third match in their feud, and I think we're going to give the victory to CM Punk on this occasion. Going to do it with a tainted win, and actually that's going to leave you to change this one. Oh no, it wasn't a tainted win; it was an interference, wasn't it? Was there another tainted win? No, I think we're good there. So yeah, CM Punk will beat Buddy Wayne with a tainted finish, sort of to end their feud. I think this will be the last sort of match in their feud. This will be the definitive one. And then the main event, as we've said before, Dan Severn and Dave Batista will face Mark Henry and Sean Stasiak. I'm not sure how good this match will be, you know. I'm going to make it only 11 minutes because I know we've got people in this match that aren't necessarily able to cope with such a long one. We're going to give the win to Mark Henry. And is he going to beat Severn or Batista? That's a fascinating choice to make. I think I'm going to have him beat. No, we're going to have him beat Batista. No, you know what? We're going to have him beat Dan Severn. That's the decision made. That's going to be the main event. Let's just have a look at our booking analysis here. So all of those have not got announcers, which is fine. We're not going to be penalised. So this is ready to go, and we've got just about enough time. I think we can cover this show off. So we're gonna run the show now. No Remorse, headlined by the tag team match, and just want to make sure storyline wise I've got everything I need here, which I think I do. So we're okay. Let's do it. Let's do this. So in front of 116 people, a new record for the Random Wrestling Revue, for a paying crowd at least. And we start with this match between Keith and Teddy Hart against the Samoa Violence Connection, and Keith and Teddy Hart win in 7:53 when Keith Hart pins ECMO after a bad miscommunication between ECMO and Chemo. Chemo carried the match in terms of in-ring performance. He got a segment rating of 36, but he was the only one above 30, but he was also above 40. So that's how good how much he carried this match to the quality that was at. But Teddy Hart now at 28, so just that one victory that he got in the last show against James Storm has already boosted his popularity up significantly enough for him to get a 28 rated in-ring performance, which is really good. Then we have Ace Steel versus Billy Kidman, with Ace Steel coming out victorious in 7:54 following interference from Barry Buchanan. Steele seemed off his game. He still did an in-ring performance at 35. Kidman at 31. Not terrible, not great. It was not an amazingly important match, this one. So I'm not unhappy with this at all. Segment rating of 36. Then we had the first of a couple of angles on this show, and this one was that basically out comes James Storm for his next match. And before his opponent is announced, James Storm talks about how Bruce Hart is trying to stack the deck against him, and that is evident once more tonight because Bruce Hart's putting him up against an opponent he's never faced before, he's never seen before, hasn't had the chance to study or scout him, but Bruce Hart's brought this new guy in to face him, and once again it's an example of Bruce Hart trying to stack the deck against him just like he's been doing for months. He says he won't be successful, and he's going to prove it in this next match. Got a segment rating of 31. James Storm enjoyed having the freedom to go off script and perform well. It wasn't a great segment, but nevertheless. Then we have James Storm versus Chris Harris in a match that goes 52 seconds, and they circle the ring for a little bit before Chris Harris basically lies on his back and James Storm climbs on top to get the pinfall. James Storm, an in-ring performance of 43, Chris Harris a 30. Can't argue with their ratings and indeed the segment rating, but James Storm gets the victory to the surprise and confusion of everybody in the crowd. James Storm then tells Bruce Hart to say hello to his new partner, Chris Harris. He says that they want the tag team titles, and when they get them, this will be the way that he forces Bruce Hart to sign him to a new contract because he'll take the tag team's titles hostage and walk away with them. He says that now it seems almost impossible mathematically for him to get enough points in the ranking system to move up to number one by the time July comes around. This was his only option. Segment rating of 25 here, not very good at all, actually. Uh, bit of a disappointment, but ultimately, this sets up the next chapter for James Storm. Then we had the tag team title match, and as we're becoming accustomed to seeing, Charlie Haas was a great performer here. A 45 rating for him for a segment rating of 41. Haas and Anderson win the match in 13 minutes and 1 second when Anderson pins Chris Adams. CW Anderson has improved a bit recently as well. He's now got a rating of 32 in this match. Adams was a 32, Rex King a 39. Adams visibly tiring towards the end, but they got through, and this was actually a good match. A 41 rated contest. Red Alert, third defense of the Northwest Tag Team titles. Then CM Punk versus Buddy Wayne, another 50 rated match. CM Punk is on fire at this point. An in-ring performance of 48 to Buddy Wayne's 39. Punk wins it in 13:43 by pinfall while using the ropes for leverage. And Punk just keeps on delivering. He just keeps on delivering, and he's getting better and better. This was a great victory for him over Buddy Wayne, and might close out their feud ultimately. But we will see. There may be some. There may be yet another couple of chapters for this one. Who knows? And all that built up to the main event, which was Dan Severn and Dave Batista against Mark Henry and Sean Stasiak, won by Henry and Stasiak in 11:26 when Mark Henry pinned Dan Severn with a big splash. Actually, Henry was the weakest in the ring, a 25 rated performance from him. Batista a 40, Sean Stasiak a 39, Dan Severn a 36. Batista the best in the match, a segment rating though of 41, plenty of popularity for the wrestlers in this match, and hopefully another boost for Henry that will help his in-ring performances in the future. And that is RWR No Remorse. A big victory for Mark Henry over Dan Severn. The truth is that what we have is the announcer at the end of the show make it very clear that that is the first time Dan Severn has been pinned in the Random Wrestling Review. And that is all we've got time for today. Thank you for watching. If you've liked, give us a like. If you want to continue to follow on, give us a subscribe. And we'll catch you next time.